Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Easter. My name is Brian Henry. I head up the legal sector here in HSO in the UK. And welcome to what is going to be the first in a series of events where we're showcasing our Legal 360 IP, which is built on top of the Microsoft BizApps platform and Power Platform. So we've got a really packed agenda for you today. So I'm delighted to say I'm joined by John, who's our legal pre-sales specialist in the UK, and also our founder. We're honoured today. We've got a founder of Legal 360 and global legal sector leader, Whit McIsaac, who's joining us from Atlanta. Thank you for joining, Whit. Whit's going to be talking about the great momentum that Legal 360 has got alongside Microsoft in the marketplace globally at the moment. So going to be telling you about some of our recent wins. So next slide, please, Jonathan. Okay, so after Whit has told you a little bit about HSO, the momentum that we've got in the marketplace at the moment, and why we're being successful, and why the BizApps platform is being successful in the legal sector globally, we're then going to move on to a demo, some software, Legal 360, and this is the agenda for that John's going to run through. We're going to be touching on a business development, how to enhance business development with Copilot AI. So last year, Microsoft invested 29 billion in R&D on Copilot. So we're going to be showing you some of that investment surfaced through our IP. Jonathan's going to be talking about how to set and enhance your client strategy based on performance data. We're going to touch on enterprise relationship intelligence, so how to harvest and make the most of your fee earners relationships with your customers. We're going to be talking about how we can improve the business development pipeline and forecasting and business planning. We're going to show you our document generation tools that we've got as part of our IP to build out business development plans and proposals and RFP responses. And of course, everything we show you can be surfaced through the Microsoft Productivity Suite, so Teams and Outlook. So we're going to be showing you that native integration with the Microsoft Productivity Suite. And at this juncture, I'm delighted to hand over to Whit, who's going to tell you a little bit about HSO and the momentum that we've got in the marketplace. Thank you.
Brian, Jonathan, Gemma, thanks very much for letting me join you all this afternoon. It's nice to see everybody, and looks like a great group participating. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about HSO and the details of our organization. You have plenty of opportunity to see that in the PowerPoint just as it gets distributed after the session. But what I want to make sure that we do is we cover the underlining foundational elements of what we're doing out in the legal marketplace right now. So when Jonathan is actually showing you software, you got some context and where that data is coming from, how we're gathering it, and so forth. So just from an organizational standpoint, we're one of the top 3 Microsoft Dynamics partners worldwide. So 2,500 plus employees, growing at a rate of about 30% a year. And our legal group, as you'll see here in a few minutes, has been doing law firm technology and CRM in the legal market for quite a number of years. The nice thing about the HSO organization is it's a global footprint. So again, as you'll see, our implementations span around the globe. So having the luxury of working with our local teams in the different geos from a language standpoint, currency standpoint, is just a huge advantage that we have. And then from a Partner of the Year standpoint, we've got about 23 Partner of the Year awards. So very, very close, strong relationship with Microsoft. So this next slide talks a little bit about our sample law firm experience. So again, I mentioned it's a global client base. So ranging from Littler, Cleary, King & Spalding, Michael Best, Brian Cave across the UK and the US, Menor Ellison down in Asia Pacific, Baker McKenzie, Bose McKinney, CMS is one of our large global clients. We've done about 14 or 15 implementations for the CMS organization. So lots of history and lots of experience in legal. And what's interesting about all of these clients they almost all use the platform a little bit differently. So it's not one size fits all. It's really defining the system to fit around the core requirements of these individual firms. Thank you, Jonathan. So from an experience and momentum standpoint, I mentioned a little bit about this a few minutes ago. So 19 years of working with Microsoft, building out these CRM platforms. And we're currently, what Jonathan's going to be showing you all is the 8th generation of Legal 360. Okay, so as Microsoft has advanced their platform and their technology, we've adapted, we've continued to add functionality to support what Microsoft is doing with the core applications. Almost all of that additional functionality in those workloads come from our clients making suggestions on what we need to do with the software. Also important to say, this is not a product that we bought and rebranded as an HSO Legal 360 product. It's a product that we began building back in 2005, and we've advanced it through. 2025 started out, it's a pretty exciting year. So we've got 8 new Legal 360 clients, implementations in process. Again, UK, US, Canada, Netherlands, New Zealand. 3 of those are migrating interaction over to Dynamics 365. So we've done well over 24 interaction migrations. Another thing that's fairly unique is Microsoft's Power Apps platform is something that we're seeing in almost all of our implementations. So we've got a number of significant projects where we're actually replacing legacy solutions in our clients using the low-code, no-code Power Apps platform to do that. And then I've not seen acceleration of technology ever in my 25, 30 years doing law firms. This Microsoft Copilot and AI is integrally involved in every one of our implementations. And again, Jonathan's going to touch on quite a bit of that as we get into the session today. So thank you, Jonathan. We hired a marketing organization to help us try to figure out what about our solution is it that's attractive out in the marketplace. I'm not going to go through the details and the bullets on this slide, but the power of the platform, the fact that we can take this platform that Microsoft has put together in Dynamics 365 in the Azure cloud, and we can tailor it, customize it, adapt it, build applications, extend it, things along those lines. Our law firms love that. So the fact that it's integrated with the balance of the Microsoft tools, as Brian mentioned a few minutes ago, and then this investment that Microsoft has made in Copilot and the AI solutions is just, it's accelerating it even quicker. I mentioned this before. It's a comprehensive set of applications. I mean, it's grown over a number of years, and a lot of our firms don't use the entirety of the solution. They just use the pieces that are important for their practice. So as we get into the software, what you're going to see is a bunch of functionality that can be turned on or off based on what your specific requirements are. If you go to the next slide, Jonathan. So a couple of things I want to just cover up on really quickly. So challenges with CRM solutions in the legal marketplace over the years. The most difficult to overcome is these law practices they like to build solutions that are too complex. The users that we need to be engaged with this system are not complex. They're not massively technology proficient. So the solutions need to be easy to use, easy to consume, and they cannot be complex. That drives user adoption if there's ease of use associated with it. Again, you'll see that here in a few minutes. The other piece is the data piece. So as you all know, everybody on this call, your data is fragmented, or law firm data is fragmented. It's spread across a number of different applications. So how do we identify that data, figure out how we're going to synchronize, integrate that data, and pull it together in one centralized location is huge. And then how do we keep it live? How do we make sure that data is fresh and it doesn't go bad, and we're working with the most current data? So again, you're going to see that as we get into the solution in more depth. Next slide talks a little bit about what we're seeing with the new implementations now in the marketplace. So The legacy definition of CRM is behind us. So now what we're looking at is we're looking at firms using this type of technology as business intelligence or practice intelligence. So consolidated firm-wide data, relationship information that's not just who knows who. It's how are my employees connected to contacts, contacts to clients, clients to companies, companies to matters or engagements, engagements to practice groups to geos, industries, and so forth. So much more comprehensive relationship insights and intelligence that's driving these solutions. And then from an automation standpoint on the far right-hand side, this is really important because everybody talks about user adoption, but the user adoption definition has changed over the years. So the way we define user adoption now with our clients is consumption of data. So if the right information is there and it helps me with my practice and helps me with my clients and my matters, I'm going to consume that data. So, so we're driving alerts and notifications through automation and workflows. We're using Copilot and generative AI to help drive the data and extend and enhance the data. Okay. Thank you, Jonathan. These are the modules. Again, we're not going to go near a fraction of the technology associated with it here, but clients and companies, contacts and relationships, client and industry teams, opportunities, new business pursuits, white space analysis, the matter intelligence piece. So again, we've got a massive amount of data that we can use for business intelligence there. Experience management is a platform that we've had enormous success with over the last couple of years. And then of course, marketing, e-marketing, and communications. Again, it can be turned on or off based on the different pieces that are important to your firm. The next piece is really important as we start talking about smart data. So Jonathan, if you click over to that next slide, we use a platform called Sync 360 to overcome one of the major challenges that I addressed a few minutes ago. How do we pull data from our practice management, time and billing, case and matter management databases, our HR system, our conflict of interest, related party, new business intake, and external content, Dun & Bradstreet, Moody's, BVD, CapIQ, and so forth. So what we've done is we've built these pre-configured connectors that connect to those systems and allow us to transfer information from those systems into the Legal 360 D365 database. Okay, so they're live connections, allows us to aggregate information, consolidate it, and show single view of the client, and lots of depth associated with the different business intelligence. And what it does is it delivers what's on this next slide, which is what we refer to as a legal dataverse. So Jonathan, if you click over to that next one, it'd be great. So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to see contacts and clients and matters, activities, related parties. We want to see our timekeeper fee information. We want to see our industry information, opportunities, pursuits, RFPs, tenders, employment history, experience, credentials, educational information. So all of that information in this dataverse in the cloud, Microsoft Azure, exposed with Dynamics 365, and then accessed through Outlook, Teams, and the core Microsoft applications, as well as mobility. So, all right, Jonathan, I'm going to turn it over to you, and hopefully that's helpful for everybody as we start looking at the actual software.
Super Wit. So one slide only, just to confirm what we're going to be looking at, give it some context. Sorry, I'm just letting Brian back into the meeting. Firstly, how to manage more with Copilot AI in Dynamics. It just provides, it's a godsend, a complete summary of all sort of records and information in easy to consume language. So something that non-CRM users would love. Building your business strategy and client strategy based on real data. And this is, as Whit said, through our package integrations with Elite and Adderant. We think we've really got a much better delivery of that data, more useful use of that financial data within Legal 360. Then looking at client relationships. So that's relationship scoring based on activity with them in Outlook. And of course, the key thing about data, the foundation of your CRM success is quality contact data. And ours is fully automated contact capture and update from Outlook email signatures. And then improving how you're managing business development, one from the point of view of better forecasting tools, and then managing with proper business planning and business plans, as well as best practice with opportunity records. And something we're really proud of is the experience capability of our CRM system, and that's particularly down to staff, employee, lawyer experience, and be able to output resumes at a touch of a button. And we're using Copilot to make that whole process for the firm easier. And then finally, collaboration, how Teams is embedded within Dynamics. So without further ado, I will toggle across to hopefully find the right screen. So here we are. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. Now we're looking at Dynamics CRM enabled by Copilot. And rather going through the menus and the records on the left-hand side, which we'll come to later, let's look and see how Copilot helps us. And Copilot's just presenting us in the middle as an introductory sort of summary, sort of the key points. It calls them prompts to get information. So get me latest news on my company records, my client records, show me my pipeline, for example, prepare for a sales meeting, and show emails. Those are more action around activities that you have in Outlook and CRM, like meetings which have been booked, and what information might be useful to help you with those. We're going to use a little bit of core CRM here. I'm going to do what's called a global search. This is a wonderful tool. It will search on a keyword or key term right across the database and give me all the instances of where that appears. So it gives me companies, all the company references to HSBC, all the opportunities referencing HSBC, either in the name or as the client, meetings, email messages which have been exchanged, contacts, and so forth. Enormously powerful. And you can see that Copilot is now being pushed to the left-hand side. And if I click on HSBC Bank PLC and the CRM record is loaded, I don't really need to look at that record because Copilot is creating an automated summary of that for me already. And here we are. So it's reading obviously information from the record, but it's giving it in a nice coherent fashion, sort of its annual revenue and number of employees and so forth. The data for this record is based on a previous Microsoft demonstration record, so it's not fully HSBC, but it's telling us useful things like when the company was details and it was last updated, the last changes to the record, how much revenue we've won from them in closed opportunities, and the first one being in 2023. Opportunities we've recently won out of 5, so we've got 3 left and so forth. So lots of really useful information on here. And here we've got those accompanying records, we've got the opportunities and leads or anything else we want to include within that Copilot search, which we can tune. I can get further information. I can use the prompts. And here's one, get latest news on account. This gives me a Bing search. So I'm preparing for a meeting with the client. And immediately I've got the top news stories. So this is publicly available information from the web. And I can click into those, or I can, in fact, what I can do with these records, with these searches, Copilot searches, is to copy any of that information. It could have been the news search, but I'm copying in to create an email to send to a colleague that summary. So here's my summary. I can just send that directly to a colleague. And we can see that we've got highlighted terms in here, HSBC, the employment opportunity. These are all highlight URLs to go straight to records, so I can click on that one. I'll just open that one in a new tab, make it easier to look at. So here's my opportunity record. We'll be looking at opportunity records in more detail in a moment. We're staying with Copilot, and we can see that Copilot is opening up on the right-hand side. I can ask various questions like what's new about this record or whatever. I go to prompts, get info. What I want to do is to check up on my pipeline. Find where that's gone to. Oh, of course, I always forget to click the button. So choose your prompt, then in the dialog, click the find button. So here's my pipeline of opportunities which are all related to me. And I'm interested in that Canary Wharf lease renewal. I don't need to go to the record. I can just hit summarize and I get a summary of that opportunity record there. So enormously time saving, so easy to navigate around the system and to be in control of your portfolio of business development or whatever activities. This could be around matter management and so forth. And we've done work with major UK global firm around report writing and so forth. So yeah, very, very useful. There are lots of more examples that I could show if we find we have time for that. So that's Copilot, but let's go and look at sort of the core of the CRM, and let's start looking at some data. So this is Legal 360 sitting on top of Dynamics. I'll explain a little more. On the left-hand side, we have this menu where we can access different records we need, like clients and matters or experience. Dashboards, we're in dashboards at the moment. I can improve the size of my window. So what we're looking at here is data. We're looking at your practice management system data, your clients and your. So these are two very useful charts that we have that come as standard. So the first one, doesn't matter whether you've got adherent or elite. The first one is around client fee health, client performance. So this is looking at last year's fees against current year. So immediately we can see where we might have weakness in fees and at-risk clients. Okay, so great touch point. So this is actually sitting in our practice leader dashboard. So this will give a view of the key clients within employment practice and so forth. The other key dashboard chart bringing that matters data through is our practice coverage and white space. This is wonderful. It makes white space identification so simple. So we have our key clients here at the bottom and the coverage from the various practices serving them and shown by value of billing. So if I'm in mergers and acquisitions, or I'm in the tax law, or I'm in employment, I can see immediately where we've got coverage with a client, where we haven't, and where our cross-sell opportunities are. So that's identifying client opportunities and gaps in an instant. Now we can drill down from this data or from this chart into the matter records themselves. These are the matter records. We've got the matter name, number, the client name, practice, and fee billing. All these reports are completely customer configurable. You can change the columns, move the columns, change the filters on the segment of data that you see. We can also drill down on the data here, so I can go into HSBC banking and finance matters or corporate contracts and so forth. So easy to drill down. I'm not going into a matter straight away, but we'll just go into HSBC and just look at the Legal 360 crown jewels, and that is the relationship insight. So here we have our relationship intelligence. It's empirical, It's built up simply by counting the number of meetings, number of emails sent out, emails in that have been exchanged by all members of the firm with their contacts at HSBC. And it gives us a total score. Now, obviously, meetings have a higher value than an email you might be sending out to a client. Meetings in, emails in has a higher score. So, you know, we have effective weighting to give you sort of a fuller overall score, or more meaningful overall score. So here we've got the contacts. So the one we're particularly interested in is Stuart Levy, who is our senior vice president, risk management. Apologise if the writing is a little small for you viewing. And a number. If I drop down the number, it gives me my colleagues who have a relationship with Stuart and individual relationship scores. And I can see how that relationship is built out. So here's Veronica. She's got a calendar score of 145. Do I want to talk to her to get access to Stuart or Benny? He's only got a calendar score of 25. So I put a lot of weight on whether they're having meetings or not. We can also record other things in here, other activity types like phone calls made and BD activities, and we will be including Teams chat this year. And I can also drill down by particular employee or practice area as well to get a finer tuned view of the relationships. Other key points on the record are business plans. So we've got fully integrated business planning where you can set plans and targets, and you can actually measure effectiveness of those plans by opportunities and by matter billing. We'll look at those shortly. The opportunities, be able to drill straight through to the opportunities, the underlying matters, which we'll come back to in just a second, and our client team. So we've got strong relationship information. We can also assign people to a client as a sort of team member with a particular role and representing a particular practice. So it makes it very easy to understand who I need to talk to get access. In the center, we have what's called the timeline. Now, this is where all the activities, the emails, the meetings that you might sync across from Outlook, or in fact create and manage within Dynamics are positioned. And in the old world, we'd have to open and then read them to work our way through. But now with Copilot embedded, we get a summary of the most recent ones, which is constantly updated. So it's actually giving me a natural language interpretation of the subject line and the text within emails and appointments. It's fantastic. Obviously, we've got this in-house. We use Dynamics ourselves, and it just makes life so much easier having Copilot. Super. Right. Let's quickly look at matters and more information around the data that we're bringing across from your PMS. And, you know, we really think of the company record as being the dashboard because it's the entry point to all the information about that client. And though we've got sort of matters held on the screen here, I can go and get as a sort of a dashboard dial almost, I can get a better view moving in and opening up that record segment. And I can click back to go to see back to the HSBC record. So just want to have a look at a matter that we bring across. It has all the regular information you'd expect, like the client record, client number, matter numbers, what practice it is, any other specialties it's related to, which office we're working from, who the key people are on the matter from our side, open close dates and status. But what we want to look at here is our employee and experience, because as well as bringing the matters over, we're bringing across all the timekeepers on that matter. Okay, and here are our timekeepers. We can set thresholds, so they only come across if they've recorded a certain amount of time or they've got certain roles, rather than having everybody. And that's down to you in your tuning. And from there, we can choose those that we want to actually have experience records for. So here's an experience record for Veronica Queck. You'll be seeing a lot of Veronica. She's been working on this matter. She's representing the employment practice. This is the time she's been working on that matter. This is her role on that matter. And this is a description here. Now, in our R&D with Copilot, because we take Microsoft's core technologies and then legalize them, and it's not released yet, and it's not in my demo, unfortunately, but we're using Copilot to write first drafts of descriptions of experience. So they can write a matter description. We'll take that matter description and then distill it down with information around anything else on that matter and details about the employee. So that's a huge value change. So not only can we automatically create the employee experience record, which happens, so you've got those experience records already against the matter, but also we can also auto-populate the first draft content. So fantastic productivity improvements. Let's just go back to the HSBC record. So we want to do some cross-sell activities. We want to build that into our plan. We've got our business plans here. Let's click onto that plan. So obviously we can set the sort of type of plan it is. It's a practice group, it's an existing client, we're targeting the employment and labour thing. We've got our key people on our side here, but most importantly, what are our targets? And we can put in targets here for fees, for matter generated fees, and for pipeline. We obviously need more opportunity coverage than fees, and we can also measure our success against that with real fee data, which we've seen already. So here we've got the matters with the billing, and that rolls up to that total. Now these have to be manually added into this grid, but just like the opportunities, it will automatically calculate how much you've actually delivered through those matters and potential from those opportunities. So chance of really measuring performance there. And also around that, the activities, the planned activities that you need to actually drive a campaign. Who are the key people at the client you want to be targeting? What are the activities you want people to be doing? And we can predefine those activities so they generate automatically for an opportunity. And who's completed what so far? So great control, real control, and visibility of performance. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's go and look at some opportunities then. Now, I'm going to go to here to pull up all the opportunities, showing us open opportunities. And now with the current release of Dynamics, we got much better forecasting. So there's this wonderful bubble chart here, which shows by size of bubble, the size of the opportunity, obviously, and then color in terms of where it is toward progressing towards closing or winning. And you can see we've got quite a lot where we're behind. We haven't closed yet, and not much in the future. That's for the firm. And then below that, you can see that we've got our usual data, and I can filter here by practice. So let's have a look by employment, labour, and we can see, yeah, it's a little more stark for the employment practice. So we need to, bring on those cross-sell opportunities with HSBC. Now, let's go and have a look at an opportunity record and how we're better managing those, or how they can be better managed. Microsoft gives you the ability to actually show a panel, so you can work through a lot of opportunities on the same screen, but we want to have a look at this in some detail. So this is the main opportunity record. I'll be selective in what I show, given the amount of time. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is this line at the top. This is called a business process flow, and it gives you a linear workflow of the key steps and stages that you need to go through to complete an opportunity. And you can have different process flows for different opportunities, whether it's a long-term pursuit or whether you're doing a tender submission, which obviously hopefully will result from a long-term pursuit, and you can have branched flows and so forth. So this provides all the key steps and fields that you need to complete to progress an opportunity. Obviously, those fields are on the record, but this just makes the whole thing far more coherent, and anybody can immediately see at what stage we're at and what sort of key decisions need to be made, what needs filling in. Also, in terms of compliance and best practice, there's a chance of building that in to this process as well. For example, when should conflicts and KYC be done? And what stage should be at before you make a no-go decision. So this is key, the business process flow. And the opportunity record, and certainly the business process flow, is where we see most of the sort of client-specific configuration work. The whole application can be rolled out pretty much out of the box. This is very vanilla. But we find clients all work in the same way, but slightly differently when it comes down to business development processes and workflows. The other key thing I wanted to show you was the key things like client team. So these are members on the client team. And why did we choose Veronica Queck? I'll show you shortly. We can track competitors, and we can include stakeholders. So I'm just giving you a tiny snapshot of this. And as usual, here in the middle is that all-important Copilot summary of all the activities and meetings which have gone against this opportunity, so I can get immediate insight as to what's been going on. Great. So why have we got Victoria on this team? Well, let's move on to our employee experience. So I need to find somebody for this cross-sell program, or rather for a client opportunity, who's in the employment and labour practice. And I could search again by role, but just to make things easy to speed this demo, we want somebody who is in London. And that gives me Veronica. So she's obviously done a lot more work than that, but that gives me, somebody in employment and Veronica. We can make the search more granular if needs be, but let's have a look at Veronica's record, and we can see here all the details about her. So this comes largely from the HR system in terms of key information. You know, what her internal title is and so forth, phone numbers, what practice she's aligned to or practices, what client team she's in, snapshot of those, what education she's got listed, what qualifications and skills, and crucially, the experience records that she has. So these are all her matter experiences of all the matters where it's reached a suitable threshold to generate one. And like I said, with Copilot, those descriptions, summary text can be auto-generated for a first draft with Copilot on the next release out. Okay, so we've got all those, and the key to this, of course, the key point to this is that I can output at the press of a button a resume for her. And that is just simply appended to the record as a note. Open that. Here we go. And here is the bio for Veronica. So we've got her qualifications, education, and we've got a series of matter experiences with descriptions. And now that's ready for me to edit and get that either into the proposal or get that out as in a credentials pack. We do have a very, very powerful template generating tool. And this is the sort of template that we can have for one or for multiple bios. I can choose the staff I want. I can add more staff. I can choose the experience. It'll bring through all the experience for the different staff members. I can choose what education I want to include. And that will allow me to build out a composite resume. So here's one we did earlier on. So here we are, Shannon McGuire, product manager, her details, her experiences, Victoria Gregory, and Veronica, which I actually added earlier today. So that's our automated proposal ready bios, experience bios. We also do, of course, experience records, which come straight from the matters as well. But we are short on time. Hopefully it's something that you'd all like to look a little more at. I've done 27 minutes, so I'll just ask our timekeeper whether we're done with that demo for now.
I think it's good, really good. Hopefully we've whetted the appetite, and as we said at the top of the webinar, this is the first in a series of events. We were going to show you the full depth and breadth of the platform, especially with the Copilot functionality. We could be here for hours. So what we've decided to do is divide it up into bite-sized chunks. So which just leads me to thank Whit for his time in joining us today, our global leader. Jonathan, thanks for a wonderful demo. I believe we've got and obviously everybody else for attending. Some of you were already talking to some of the attendees, and thank you for joining us. And some names are new to us, so we'd love to converse with you. You've got our contact details, and we hope to see you on the next webinar. And on that note, our next webinar is calling Turning Contacts into Contracts. So we're really going to go deep on that business development process. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you all on the next webinar. As I said, in the meantime, if any of you got any questions, hopefully we aren't. Whit was busy in the chat answering away. So if there's any immediate questions that you've got after this, please don't hesitate to contact us. And failing that, we'll see you on the next event. And thank you very much for your time.